Hey everyone, Season 8 is pretty much done with now, and we're off into the lovely time that is preseason, where Riot normally breaks the game and then spends 2 months fixing it ready for the release of the next season. It's actually not that bad, thankfully, but I thought we would catch you up to speed with the major changes, the major ways the game is going to change in a couple of weeks. So one of the biggest things is how towers or turrets are going to change, and specifically the outer tower, so the first one. The outer towers are now going to have this thing called plating. There are going to be 5 plates on the tower, and each plate has 1000 health. The armor and magic resist is going to start at 40, and it's going to be increased by 30 for each plate destroyed. So the further along the tower you get, the lower you get it, the harder it is going to be to actually destroy it. The idea of this is that it gives gold per plate that is destroyed, 160 gold shared between nearby champions. When you do take a plate, there is a thing called a bulwark. It's 20 seconds. If more than one enemy champion is nearby, it will give it 25 armor and magic resist per nearby champion. So if you're trying to siege it down as a jungler or something like that, where there's 3 people around, the next plate is going to be really hard to take for the next 20 seconds. Finally then, the plates fall off at 14 minutes into the game, and the armor and magic resist falls off as well. So it goes down to 0, and suddenly all the outer towers become pretty easy to take. There are also some kind of like general tower changes that come along with this. So the health has been increased up to 5,000. That's 1,200 more. Turret first blood gold is going to be lowered to 150, which is halved from 300. They also have more AD now over the game. They gain 9 per minute instead of 5. So the outers are going to go up to like 278 from 152. The inner inhib can go up to 305, and the Nexus tower can go up to 285. So when it comes to pushing and stuff like that, that is way more of like a tactic now. Like you can actually get a massive lead that way, especially in the lane phase. If you took off all 5 plates, which is not going to be easy at all, by the way, because of the increased resistances, that is going to be 160 gold times 5, right? For each plate, that is 800 gold itself, 150 for the first tower blood of the game. That is 950, about 1,000 gold for dominating your lane and taking that tower. That is crazy. That sounds really good, but it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to take way more time to actually get one, especially in like one sitting with the armor and magic resist increase every time a plate comes off. Lane phase is going to last longer now. That is kind of like the entire point of these changes, because the towers will stand up for longer. Like these plates don't fall off until 14 minutes into a game, especially with the jungler, right? If they come to push and stuff, they'll activate the bulwark after the first plate that's destroyed and almost double the resistances on there, which makes it much more difficult to carry on pushing. What you'll probably see is like if the jungler ganks or something like that, they get a kill, then they'll push for one plate and then they'll back off afterwards. Whereas now they might actually go for the entire tower. That is also the thing with general laning though. If you're 1v1 and you get a kill, you might also be able to get a plate afterwards though, so you're rewarded even more for playing aggressive and winning your lane than you were before. On the flip side, being in a weaker lane, as long as you don't die, by the way, isn't going to be as bad. You can sit under your tower if you need to farm. You can get as much CS as you want to. Your tower won't be getting nuked like it does now. On the flip side, I guess the other side of that, if you're pushing a weaker lane into their tower, you can get some plates as well and at least get a little bit of gold for it. There are 2 main things that you're going to notice a lot. Lanes aren't going to be as decided now by other lanes winning. So if bot lane wins, for example, it takes longer to get that turret now, so there is less chance of them moving around the map and starting to help with the other lanes. You'll also notice that you should have a full complete item by the time the first tower falls in the game. By the time you start to move and group and fight and stuff, you'll at least have items to do it. As I said though, like winning lane in this kind of thing is even better. Like champions like Caitlyn, who can push Energy, now also can use that as a legit strat to get more gold and get further ahead with the plates. In a way, it kind of does like reduce the snowball because towers last longer, so it contains everybody in their lane a little bit more. But the good thing is that it doesn't punish you for winning while doing that. You'll still get more gold from being stronger, if that makes sense. So like you get the plates, you get the gold, but you won't be getting the gold from other lanes. So moving on to our next change then, Rune Pages. Stat bonuses are going to be changing with the preseason. The Rune Pass like Precision or Resolve and stuff, they no longer give any stats at all. You now pick which stats that you want from the 3 stat shards in addition to all of your runes that you would normally select right now. There are 3 rows. Row 1, you can pick between 6 AD or 10 AP as your damage side. Then you can go 8% attack speed, or you could go some cooldown reduction 1 to 10%, which scales with your level. Row 2 is again going to be AD or AP, 5 armor or 6 magic resist. And then finally in row 3, it's all about the defense. We have health that scales with your level, or 5 armor or 6 magic resist. So it is more freedom than right now. You can take whatever runes you want and then back them up with a set of stats that makes most sense for you and for your build. If you're playing Vayne against an Ezreal, for example, that's typically an easier lane. You can stack up your damage, right? Just get loads of AD and attack speed. Against a Draven, maybe you want a bit more health or armor to survive. That is going to be the idea. At least you can kind of change depending on the game. Also, to give you an idea of what this is going to look like compared to now, it's actually not a nerf. It's really good. If you went Precision and Sorcery right now, you would get 6 AD and 9% attack speed. In the new system, system, you would get 8% attack speed row 1, 6 AD from row 2, and then have more health or more armor and magic resist from row 3. If you went domination, so you're a Z for example, and you go sorcery secondary, you would get 12 AD right now. The new system, you could actually get 12 AD as well from the first 2 rows, 6 from each, and then have more health or armor or magic resist as well from row 3. It's giving you more depth to the rune system, more choice to allow more cool builds or like adapt to each different game and not force you to kind of go like precision. For example, if you really need attack speed, now go whatever you want, pick whatever keystone you want, but just take attack speed from row 1. Next up is going to be bounties. Gold bounties are now no longer only coming from kills. It's going to be visible on the scoreboard as well to see how much somebody is worth. So you press tab and the gold amount, their bounty amount, is just going to be above their score. CS, so like minions and monsters and stuff, now factors into bounties as well. So if you're just really farmed and ahead of your opponent, that is going to factor into a bounty. It's going to be capped at 1,000 gold for 1 kill. Any remaining bounty, if they're super fed after that, will stay there for the next time you kill them. Bounties on the losing team are now going to be reduced as well, so you don't get punished if you're trying to make a comeback in the game, and it's a little bit easier for the losing team. Kill bounties will scale higher with more kills, so if you're super fed, you'll be worth a lot more gold. To give you an idea of what it looks like with the CS and the kill bounties together, in games where one team is winning heavily, bounties will be about 70% from kills and about 30% from CS. In even games where it's very close, almost 100% will be from kills only, and CS doesn't really factor into it that much. This is really all about one thing in the game, making games winnable. It's like a clear path to a comeback. You see someone worth 1,000 gold, they have a 10k gold lead. Well, let's kind of catch that one person, right? And we can cut that lead. That's how it's supposed to work. In preseason and after these changes, it's also going to be more accurately reflecting the actual game. If someone is 100 CS above you, they are just as far ahead as somebody with a bunch of kills, so that is why their bounty should be higher. It's really all about making the game feel better when you're losing, like giving you more chances to feel like this isn't done in the game. Don't open mid, don't go over FAP or whatever, still play, and there are going to be ways to come back. Okay, so finally then we have clearer and faster ways to win a game. So teams with a lead should be able to close out the game without a Baron buff. You don't have to risk it, or if you don't have a very good Baron taking team, you can still win the game. The changes will also reduce the waiting around time and let you pile on the pressure a bit more consistently. We'll get into it, but basically minion waves move faster and objective timers are lower. Let's start with the objective. So respawn times. Dragon is going to go down to 5 minutes from 6, and Elder Dragon is going to go down to 6 minutes from 8. Baron is also going down to 6 minutes from 7 at the moment. Big one is really the Elder Dragon. It's the most time shaved off it, but it now also syncs up with the Baron timer, which is going to be important if it goes late game and you have to decide between the two. Really though, the ones that you'll probably notice the most when you're actually playing the games and stuff will be more dragons are going to be up, so there's more chance to get the buffs from them, which actually can be really important, and a lot more Baron fights. I actually think the dragon change here is really underrated out of these three. Like, oh, it's obviously not going to be the most eye-catching, but think of it like in a 25-minute period, you now could get 5 of those buffs, which are really powerful, whereas with the old system, you could only get 4. Baron buff is also going to be changing, and I'm really curious for these next changes with the minions and the Baron buff. Let me know down below whether you actually knew this stuff before or whether this is kind of like news to you, because I don't think a lot of people actually know how it works like behind the scenes. So Baron buff is no longer going to protect minions from turret damage, and minions no longer gain bonus stats based on your team's average level versus the enemy's team level. What that actually means is minions would push harder while you have the Baron. Minion protection from champion damage as well has been changed from 75% for melee and 50% to caster to 65% for both. The main takeaway from that part is just side lanes won't push as hard on their own. This was a really big behind the scenes thing that meant you were under pressure in all 3 lanes normally. So for all minions then, damage to towers has been lowered by 10%, but move speed has been changed from plus 25 at 20 minutes to plus 25 to 100 between 10 to 30 minutes. Damage to towers will kind of make sense in a second because minion scaling damage is going to be better now basically, but the move speed change means that especially with Baron, right, minion waves will catch up to the tower a little bit quicker, and you'll have constant pressure on that tower and be able to keep sieging it over and over. Even if the tower actually does take them down just a little bit faster, whenever you're sieging now, it will be easier and there's less time spent between each wave waiting for them. With melee minions though, the max health has actually been increased, max armor increased, and max AD increased, and all those maximums are going to come at 37 minutes into a game. Caster minions have also had their max health increase slightly, their max AD increased though by quite a lot, but it doesn't scale indefinitely throughout the game. So both of these are going to be tankier, they're going to hit harder, they're going to crash into towers faster, and that is the idea, right? Getting them smacking the towers, and that is why they have 10% less damage to turrets, because they do more damage anyway in general. Maybe the biggest change change of the entire video we're going to hit right at the end, which is the cannon minions. So this is kind of like the core of it, really. They're going to start to spawn every 2 waves now at 15 minutes instead of 20, and they're going to spawn every single wave at 25 minutes instead of 35. Their maximum health has also been increased, and the damage taken from turrets has been changed. So it used to take 8 shots to die from a tower, and it's now going to be 8 on the outer, 10 on an inner, and 12 shots on an inhib or a nexus. So more cannon minions means like, and because they're the same gold, by the way, as well at the moment, it's going to be more gold in the game in general if you can farm them up, but also they're tankier and it takes longer for a tower to kill them. That is a big reason why it's now going to be easier to take towers without the Baron buff, because a tower itself can't deal with the entire wave as fast. It's going to focus that cannon minion first, right? It's going to take way longer to kill it, which is more time for the casters and the melee minions to be able to hit the tower and take it down. This, in my opinion, with the extra gold and the pushing power together, is going to make games much faster, I think. And it also should make champions like poke champions like Caitlyn, Ziggs, Lux, for example, who want to sit near a tower and kind of like poke it down much better, because that whole idea is going to work better. The last change, I swear this is the last one, super minions. The base AD has been lowered, but attack speed increased, and the buff they had, the aura that they gave nearby minions plus 70% damage, that has been removed. It is really just to balance out all of the other changes now that they're stronger on their own. So it's not a major issue. It's just like taking an inhib isn't as great as it was before. Those are going to be the changes then coming in preseason in a few weeks. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and definitely let me know what you think about all of these down below. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the robots.